Yes, sir, ready.
Welcome. Mr. Bashir, over to you.
Okay, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so very much. Let me introduce myself first of all. My name is Bashir Ahmed, and I did my BS in English from Cordoba University, and now I'm doing MPhil from there. And as for my teaching experience is concerned, so I have around about 3 years of teaching experience at different private sectors, 3 years experience at government degree college, still teaching at BS level.
Excellent.
And today I'm gonna deliver a topic on introduction to linguistics. So first of all, guys, let me tell you what is linguistics or before this. First of all, we have English. And in English, we have then two basic fields. It is divided into two. One is called literature, and this second one is called linguistics. When we look at the word linguistics, what comes to our mind? Linguistics is a word, it is derived from the Latin. It has two terms, lingua and aesthetics. Lingua means language, and aesthetics mean scientific. So the definition we derive from the word is the scientific study of a language is called linguistics. Further, we have to talk about the scope of linguistics. So in scope of linguistics, it doesn't mean change the slide, sir. Okay, definition. It is a common, it is a communication of thoughts and feelings through a system of arbitrary signals such as voice, sound, gesture, or written symbols. This is, we are talking about language, okay? So whenever like we say linguistics, the scientific study of a language, so then you will think what language is. First of all, we should know about it. So we have like a lot of definitions through it. It's a sort of process by which we communicate with others. We are sharing our feelings, ideas, thoughts, and we can also say that this is a tool we use for communication, and this is called language. And whenever we do the study of language, that field is called linguistics, the scientific study. Now change it. The second one is, according to the chapter 1921, gave a moral, plausible definition of it. Then we had like David Prestel. According to him, he says that the discussion may be summarized by referring to language as human vocal noise or graphic representation of this noise and writing used systematically and conventionally by a community for purposes of communication. So that's the same thing. He said that this is a process we use for communication. The people are using, they have used, and still we do use it. And the second one is language is a form of communication. I mean, a system of symbols, specifically transmitted by vocal sounds. These are the symbols in the written form or in spoken. For example, now I'm speaking, so these symbol I am giving them a logical clue, and it gives us feeling. Furthermore, when we talk about like what is the difference between human language and animal language, sometimes like the people say it's a question they do rise, that does animal have a language? They do communicate, yes, of course, but that is not like similar to that the language of the human, because human language has qualities, characteristics that we do not have over there in animal language. So infinite area, finite repertoire of communication, unlimited for humans. Human can talk for a while, for hours, and you can say like we have only, if we look at English language, so we have 26 alphabets, and by them we are using infinite sentences, and we use them for communication all the time. And this is said by Noam Chomsky, one of the very familiar, one of the great linguists. he says that human beings from the finite letters they produce a lot of words and they use it for communication. Human language has what we call grammar. It allows. Uh, sir, go back, sir, one slide, please. Yeah, it allows more creation of sentence pattern and change the slide and okay. So let me tell you, let me explain this a little bit. As I have said to you guys that these are the patterns, these are, the system. For example, now I'm talking about something, I'm talking about a language, even let me give this very good example. So these are the words, these words I'm giving them a proper grammatical structure. And whenever like we have that correct structure, so the receiver will get the message properly. And this is one of the key characteristics a human language possesses. Then and that like we have productivity, the ability to vary a message to reflect differences in circumstances concerned. Then we have cultural transmission, whatever like sort of language were used by the adults, by our parents. Now we have they have transmitted, and now we are using them, and then our offspring, and then it goes. But one thing happened that language is always it's like dynamic, okay, like changes occurs in that. What sort of language they were using that time is very different from ours, because this is a modern era, new words do come, then we use them. So language changed with the passage of time. And next, sir. Next.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I think you described this very well, Mr. Bashir. So different types of linguistics.
Yeah, as for the definition concerned, so we talked about that in the very beginning, that what linguistics is. Let me tell you once again, linguistics is a combination of two terms, lingua and aesthetics. This word is basically it is derived from the Latin word lingua and aesthetics. So lingua means language, and aesthetics means scientific. So linguistic is the scientific study of language. This is the definition we derived even from the word. Then there are many branches in linguistics. For example, we have applied linguistics, historical linguistics, psycholinguistics, evolutional linguistics, and sociolinguistics. Yes, sir. Next.
Ah.
Then this is a very good question. Sometimes the students do ask that what do we study in linguistics? So whenever like we are talking about the branches of linguistics, so we have two kinds of branches. One is called micro branches. They are also called small branches. They are called internal branches. They are also called levels of linguistics. And the second one is called macro branches, big branches of linguistics. So in macro branches of linguistics, we study language in relation with other departments, with society. This is called social linguistics, as we had, and relation with computational linguistics, and relation with psychology. So psycholinguistics. That is like whenever we study, we do study scientifically of a language in relation with other branches, or we can say with other areas, fields. Then that comes under the category of macro branches. Then we have micro branches. Micro means small branches. So in these branches, we have like phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax. That is also called internal branches. When we talk about like the scope of linguistics, as I have said to you guys, in scope of linguistics we have micro branches and macro branches. We study both of them. From the scope of linguistics, we mean what we will study in this linguistics, okay? And it doesn't mean that like what is the scope. Sometimes like the people get the meaning that what is the scope of this. For example, whenever I do my linguistic, I get my degree in that, what will be the value of that in the market. That is not the case over here. Over here we mean that And from the scope of linguistics, what is there in linguistics? For example, a person says that I will do linguistics, so what he will study and that. So he will study these small branches and macro branches I have discussed. Then in that we have like phonetics is the one, phonology, morphology, syntax. There is pragmatics. There is uh, discourse also. Then one by one, let me tell you phonetics. So again, let me derive definition from the word phonetics. Phone mean sound, and aesthetic mean scientific. So when we study a sound scientifically, that is called phonetics. And as for like the definition I have given over here, it is phonetic is the study of sound production, physical production. That is how the sounds are produced in the mouth. When we talk about like the phonetics, so in this phonetics we have three branches. In one we study like how the articulation of sound. Then in the second we well in first one like we study the articulation of sound, how we articulate it, how we produce the sound. And second we study the transmission of sound, how we transmit, how this sound transmits from one person to another. And the third one we do study the perception of sound, how a person perceives it. Then we have phonology. So the study of sound pattern is called phonology. From and phonology specifically, we study sounds. For example, in English, then in other languages, that is like something in general. Then we have morphology. So we look at the word morphology. Morph, and we have again like over here two terms, morph and logy. From the morph we mean form, and logy means study. So the study of forms of world, how like a world forms, the formation of worlds, or you can say the study of world structure, internal structure of a world. Like for example, there is a world dogs. So how will we make dogs? In morphology, we study this like dog and s. We have like two morphemes. The one is dog. So that is called inflectional. That is called free morpheme. The s is called bound morpheme. So these things we study over there in morphology. Then we have like syntax. Syntax is the study of sentence pattern, how we will like keep the words grammatically, we will keep them correctly in a sentence to give us full meaning. For example, when we talk about English, so English we have SVO structure, subject, verb, and object. When we study these things, so that branch of linguistics is called syntax. Next,
That's the last one, Mr. Bashir.
there is the last one.
It is. Thank you. That was great. Very good introduction to linguistics.
Welcome, sir. This was all about linguistics, and shall I next class we will discuss further.
Definitely. You're most welcome, Mr. Bashir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.